All right, Unit 6, Day 3, which is Chapter 3.3 in the book, is all about solving solving inequalities using multiplication and division. Solving inequalities using multiplication and division. Yesterday, we talked about solving addition and subtraction. Multiplication and division, you probably have ideas of how this is going to go down. However, there is one surprise here that we're going to have to pay close attention to. Let's do our first example here. How about x divided by 3 is greater than negative 4. Let's start here. All right, so I like to put my line through the inequalities. Try and get x by itself. Now this says x divided by 3. So what do I do instead? We would multiply by 3 on both sides of the inequality. And we'd be left with x, because the 3's cancel, is greater than negative 12. All right, simple as can be, just like we've been doing. And when we graph this, make our number line with 2 tick marks. We got negative 12 and 0. Remember, negatives are to the left of 0. This is going to be an open circle going to the right. There it is. Too easy, right? Let's do another one. How about 24 less than or equal to 2x? All right, what would you do to get x by itself? I like to draw my line. Divide by 2 on both sides. So you're left with 12 is less than or equal to x. Now, remember, because x is on the the right side, that creeps me out a little bit. So I like to write it the other way. I like to write it as x is greater than or equal to 12. Then when I graph this, 2 tick marks. We've got 0 is one of them, and 12 is the other. Above the 12, is this open or closed? This is closed, going to the right. All right, so when we're solving by multiplication or division, you do the inverse operation just like we've always done, or the enemy. X divided by 3, we multiply by 3. This says 2 times x, so we divided by 2. Here's the little hitch. This is called, I call the, not even the, this is the rule. This is so crazy important. The rule for this chapter is if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must switch the inequality symbol. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must switch the inequality symbol. All right, let's do an example of this. How about negative 5? Negative 5m is greater than or equal to, let's go with 20. All right, so this says negative 5 times m. What would we do to get m by itself? We would divide by negative 5 on both sides. So the negative 5's cancel. You're left with m. Now here's the thing. Since we divided by negative 5, we have to switch the inequality symbol around. We have to change the direction of it. And we got 20 divided by negative 5 is negative 4. All right? So then to graph this, we would have negative 4 and 0. Open or closed? Closed to the left. All right, now don't get confused between this and something like this. 5m is greater than or equal to negative 20. All right, this is a different problem. Check this out. What would we do to get m by itself here? We would divide by 5 on both sides. But we would be left with m is, now what does this say? This says negative 20 divided by 5. Remember, if you multiply or divide by a negative number. This is negative 20, but that doesn't mean anything. It's what we divide by. So in this case, the inequality symbol does not change. This remains m is greater than or equal to negative 4. All right? Only when you divide by, when the bottom thing is negative. All right? So this would be, to graph this, we'll graph this really quick. Negative 4 and 0. This is going to be a closed circle going to the right. All right? If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must switch the inequality symbol. Let's do one more, and then I'll leave you alone. How about h over negative 6 is greater than negative 8. H divided by negative 6 is greater than negative 8. So we draw our line. H divided by negative 6, what are we going to do? We're going to multiply by negative 6 on both sides. So these cancel. You're left with H. Now we multiplied by negative 6, so the symbol switches. Negative 8 times negative 6 is positive 48. So our graph is going to look like 0, 48. Open circle, because it's less than, to the left. All right, so we solved just like we've always solved. The one little thing that's different this lesson is if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to switch the symbol. But if a negative number is divided by a positive number, you don't switch it. Big rule. Put a big box around this thing. This is going to be important this entire chapter. Smith out!